Reports from Iran say 4 people have been shot dead during opposition protests on the streets of the capital, Tehran. Opposition websites say security forces have been using live rounds and tear gas to disperse opposition supporters. A pro-government news agency has disputed that claim. Foreign broadcasters are banned from covering events in Iran, and we cannot verify the amateur footage that's emerging. Jenny Wivel reports.
Destroying the motorbikes of Iranian security forces, these protesters are attacking the Basij military. Linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, these forces are normally used to keep protesters in line. Whether these images of the violent clashes on the streets of central Tehran have been filmed by the protesters themselves or even the militia is difficult to say. They appear to have been posted on the internet from inside Iran, but they can't be verified. Chanting, "We are going to kill those who kill our brothers," these protesters seem to be carrying an injured comrade away from the violence. A number of people are understood to have been killed in the confrontations, something Iran's police has denied to Iranian state television.
Tehran's police chief has dismissed foreign media reports that security forces have killed any of the protesters.
Opposition members say Iranian security forces have been firing tear gas and warning shots into the crowds.
Syria, we saw Lebanon.
The violence coincides with tens of thousands of people across Iran celebrating Ashura, one of the holiest events in the Muslim calendar. The president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who joined in with the ceremonies in another part of the city, was filmed on state television. Last night, panic and commotion swept through the mosque where the former Iranian president, Mohammad Khatami, was speaking. He was quickly whisked away as plainclothes hardliners surged through double doors into the venue. Tensions in Iran have been high since supporters of the opposition leader were denied the right to protest after the elections 6 months ago. They appear to have used this weekend's religious festival as a show of defiance of President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's government. Jenny Wivel, BBC News.
Well, reports out of Iran also say the nephew of the former presidential candidate Mir Hossein Mousavi was among the dead. Saeed Mousavi was apparently shot in the heart. Mr. Mousavi was at the hospital. Joining us now in the studio here at BBC World News is our Tehran correspondent, specifically on that angle of what's going on. What else do we know, John?
Well, I can confirm that Mr. Mousavi, the opposition presidential candidate's nephew, has been killed. Mr. Mousavi himself is now at the hospital, obviously sorting out the arrangements. Saeed Ali Mousavi, 34 years old, was at a demonstration in Taqlb Square, right in the heart of the disturbance we've been watching, when he was shot in the heart. As to how many other casualties there have been, it's unclear. I have certainly eyewitness reports of people who said they saw the police shoot and they saw casualties, going to the ground, but it was difficult to say who was killed and who was injured. And what's been happening is that demonstrators and relatives have been taking the bodies of those killed away themselves, probably because in the past the government's prevented mourning ceremonies and limited access even to the bodies of the deceased. So I think they've now had a strategy where they want to take the bodies away for themselves so they can have their own mourning ceremonies, they can have their own funerals and so forth. That is why it is very hard to confirm precisely how many people have been killed. The opposition saying 4 or maybe now 5 people killed, but it's very difficult to confirm as the body wouldn't have passed through any official channels such as hospitals. Was Mr. Mousavi's nephew part of the political opposition, i.e. was he an aspirational politician or was he simply a protester? I couldn't say that, but he was clearly in the centre of the protest, so I think he was clearly taking part. Very briefly, John, what's your reading of where this is going? It's very difficult to see what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day, but what one can certainly say is that this obviously worsened the confrontation. It's very difficult to see how both sides are going to respond to this now. John Lyne, thank you very much.